You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up.
Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back!
Does anybody else want to stay?
Let's ride!
Welcome everybody. It's good to have you back for a week, another whole week together. It's Monday, it's the 11th of May, and it's the, man, I don't know, there's just a lot going on. I got some great stories tonight. We got Jim Lee coming on in the second half because he has filed a very interesting and hopefully will become a landmark petition with the FDA, addressing the things going on in the sky. So I want to ask him about that. I also want to ask him some, internet-related questions. What's going on out there in cyberspace? And then, in the first half, I've just got a whole bunch of stuff to throw at you guys and gals, and hopefully you get some questions. Up front, I've had quite a few questions already come into me through email about, what's going on right now with our friend, Chrissy Mayer, who finds herself in the middle of a really nasty thing that's been developing over the last however many weeks or so with the quartering. I've been watching Brittany Venti every once in a while because everybody's been kind of like sharing stuff around in the Discord. I've been getting up on all the drama and stuff, which I really hate. I can't stand getting into that. But every once in a while, things just spill over into your lap, and then people are involved. So I know enough. And I would definitely don't want to be. I hate being in the middle of something that you're just like, can I just get on my week? I'm not in the middle of it. I'm just saying I can understand where Chrissy is right now, and boy, she's dealing with it. We can talk about that, but I'll probably talk about that on the flip side, unless a little space of time opens up tonight. We can dive into what the hell has been going on there. It has to do with false flagging of channels, not that kind of false flag, but literally just flagging channels and trying to get competitors or people who have some kind of criticisms to lay at you taken down. And that's all, what the quartering's been doing apparently. Apparently people have a lot of problems with his coffee. Apparently it's tied to Tim Pool's coffee too. Man, I have never been happier to have a nice little coffee operation in Davenport, Iowa, doing the Quite Frankly coffee. And I understand there's this whole coffee war going on with so-called right-wing media people. I ain't all about that. There's really not a lot of money in it, to be honest. I liked it. I liked the taste, and that's what we have, and we worked it out so that we could at least just keep it around for us. Hope you guys enjoy it. But I'll tell you one thing, it's not stored in rat poop. Apparently there's all like health violations with these people's coffees and shit like that. I was like, damn. One day, man. One day we're gonna catch a wave. We're gonna catch a wave just by merit of how we've been playing clean over here. We've been playing clean, but I don't know if we'll have any time to do that in the 7 o'clock during the 7 o'clock show, but definitely have some time to sift through that on the flip side, because I know quite a few of you would be into that kind of reality reality show drama that's going on right now, because it's yeah, you know, well, you got to take some entertainment from somewhere, right? We wouldn't have to deal with this stuff if it wasn't for just give us the alien hordes. I mean, finally the alien stuff started going to we're in the Nazi area of things now. Finally we're getting to some Nazis. Where the hell is it? I had it on Daily Mail before, but talking about, you know, the Nazi programs, the Bell, that types of stuff, you know, the real origin stories of what we know as flying saucers. But that's all happening, and we've got a lot on our plate. Hopefully we can digest it. But thankfully we have overtime. Thankfully we have the rest of the broadcast week. Tomorrow is going to be another T-ball day, so we'll be starting later than 7. I always put 7:30 down, but hopefully I can get into the either one studio or the other, and we can go live before you know it, before 7:30 gets around, and that's what we have there. All right. Anyway, couple things up front. Apparently, this is just a thing, and on Wednesday night, Timothy Alberino, if God wants, as Tony Black would say, we'll be back on the show, and we get to just have a fun time. Talk about all the news we've missed and shit like that. But apparently Tim was on another podcast. I think this one's called Paramount Tactical. He was on Paramount Tactical podcast, and he was asked about being a cat. This is our gift to the world so far. This is what people are going to remember me for the most, I guess. What would people remember me the most for? Right now, if the internet went away and all that was left, all that was done prior to this moment was preserved on the internet, what would people remember me the most about? Or what would people most remember me for, I should say? Here, take a listen to this.
Apparently, this is an inside joke from somebody that knows you. It says, please ask Tim if he is a cat. Thank you very much.
This person must be a fan of my friend Frank's show, Quite Frankly. Yes, I am secretly a cat. Yes, I'll just come out with it.
See? Oh, there you go. He's embracing it. He's embraced it. At least he called me a friend. That's good. I don't. You know, it's the little victories. See, that's the whole thing. Yeah, I guess so. You can tell how far along, how far down the road somebody comes in on the joke if they just say he's a cat, or that was a suspicion. That was a suspicion of ours because he avoided answering the cat person cryptid question that Matt had. You know, that was going to be his contribution for the night. You see how he avoided that, bro? We actually have more evidence that Matt is in some way non-human than Timothy is, but anyway, I'm glad that we were able to give him this gift. And that's what we have on that front. On the Hantavirus front, which is just not entertaining anybody. We got this from Fox News today that at least one American has tested positive for the Hantavirus, as passengers exposed to the virus on a cruise ship are now back on U.S. soil. This was breaking news this morning.
And we're starting with a Fox News alert. A group of American passengers from the cruise ship that's linked to the deadly Hantavirus outbreak, they have landed back here in the United States.
So they're now being taken to the National Quarantine Center in Omaha, where they're going to be monitored for symptoms.
Alex Hogan joins us with the latest on this story. Hey, Alex.
Hi, Lawrence, Brian, and Ainsley. So as these travelers make their way to homes in countries, more than 20 countries around the world, their respective medical teams are addressing how to contain the virus. As of this morning, a French passenger and American passenger have tested positive. Another American currently has mild symptoms. These 17 Americans are now back on U.S. soil as of this morning. 2 of them traveled in the plane's biocontainment unit. Each individual will undergo clinical assessment and receive care based on their condition.
That means they put them in the carrier for the carrier for the carry-ons, the up top. That's the biocontainment unit. They actually put the people up there above all of the seats.
Conditions. That's according to the Department of Health and Human Services. And if you're thinking this all feels like 2020 all over again, doctors address those concerns.
We have a team on the ground that's going to help these 17 Americans, bring them back to a facility in Nebraska. We're going to have them isolate for about 42 days. That's what the literature says. We've handled outbreaks like this before. My message to the American people is, please don't worry. This is not one of those things.
And remember, if you wear 4 N95 masks, if you layer them 3 to 4 at a time, not only will you stop all viruses, but you will literally end racism. So when in doubt, put 4 to 5 if you can, because the more masks you pile on top of each other, the more protection you're going to have. Duh. And then don't worry. But, to be safe, we should burn that plane and give everyone that was on the plane an anal swab. One of the Chinese anal swabs. Remember they tried floating that for a little bit? I have to have a highlight somewhere of how the Chinese were humiliating people as they're getting off of planes, swabbing their anus. That was just ridiculous, but the times they get more ridiculous than that. I don't know. Here's a little something for you, everybody that every once in a while monitors the craziness coming out of Hollywood, and it is this, that Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, which for a moment there I was really excited about. Apparently, it is being reported that Lupita Nyong'o is going to be playing Helen of Troy, and that Elliot Page is going to be playing Achilles. And now I've had people tell me before that they believe that we all died of COVID 6 years ago and that we're actually just in hell. We don't know it. We're in hell. And some days I believe it. And when I see headlines like this, I believe it. It's like, oh, maybe, you know what? Maybe we did die 6 years ago and we are in hell. It's incredible. And again, let me just put it out there. This is why they have to gerrymander. Nobody wants to see a mutilated Ellen Page playing Achilles and essentially Starvin' Marvin playing Helen of Troy. I'm sure they're nice people. If they trust you and their guard is down and they can be vulnerable. But this is just absolutely crazy. Here's a 2004 with the movie Troy with Brad Pitt when he played Achilles. Here's the side-by-side, 2004 and 2026. That's what happened to society in 22 years. Now, seriously. And that's what you got to keep in mind. This is what I always try to remind myself about when things just start getting more and more bizarre, is that this is not normal. It is not in any way, shape, or form. It's indicative of rapid collapse. And of course, there are a lot of things that are contributing to that collapse. It is steered, it is planned, it is accelerated, no doubt about it. But if you really think about it, we're looking at a rapid demolition that has taken place truly. I mean, this has been like 3 or 4 generations. 4 generations at the most. It has been very fast. Very, very fast since the post-war bliss that we were in just momentarily. Even though prior to World War II, the infiltration here was already pretty crazy. It really was, going back to the 20s and the 30s. But you just remember that I know it seems like this is it. It's not going to last forever. It's not going to last forever. I don't know if we see that turnaround in our lifetimes or if it's Aurora's lifetime, her sister. I don't know. I don't know, but it's not going to last forever. It's incompatible. It's not, it's incompatible with nature. You can't, I saw this one guy, I think a friend of mine from where the hell is it? Hold on a second. This was in, I gotta bring it up here. Friend of the show, Jack, sent this to me. Where the hell is it? Here you go. It's a black guy. A black guy is holding a sign. He's out campaigning. I don't know. He's just picketing by himself on the sidewalk. And he's holding up a sign that's like one man, one woman. And is confronted by a leftist. You have to imagine, I don't know, some kind of a alphabet spectrum person. But anyway, take a listen to this exchange, a little bit of it. It's interesting.
So what's your cause? What's your cause?
First, what's your position?
I'm gay.
I am too.
What is this? Why does it say one man and one woman?
I'm the happiest man in the world.
Why does your sign say one man and one woman?
I'm 100% gay.
Why does your sign say one man and one woman?
Because this is the right, natural way.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Why are you having...
Words don't mean anything today.
Turn around. Marriage always one man and one woman, so you're saying that gay people can't get married?
I don't believe in special rights.
But you're black. How could a black person be a bigot in this country?
Well, I'm not black. I'm a white lesbian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, a boy could be a girl. Really?
No, you're making a mockery.
No, you're making a mockery, sir.
So why do you believe then that what about before civil rights and that black people had to drink at different fountains?
I know. Was that wrong?
Yeah.
It was legal.
No, you got your civil rights, which is wonderful.
No, wait. It was legal.
I'm not a racist in any shape or form.
I'm not a racist either.
Well, you're a black bigot.
No. I'm a white lesbian.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Address me as a white lesbian.
Oh.
I'm not black. A boy could be a girl, and a girl could be a boy. So if I want, I'm not black. So if you talk to me, you address me as a white lesbian.
Okay, white lesbian.
Okay, now we can talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have never seen a white lesbian that's obviously a black man that's bigot.
Oh, I never seen a man that is gay based on science.
I was born gay and
No,
I'm proud to be gay.
What? So when the doctor said, congratulations, Mr. Johnson, you have a 5 pound, 6 ounce, what? Gay man? Gay male? No, because you're not born a behavior.
I'm born who I am, and you were born black.
Look, see, I told you I'm a white lesbian, and you won't acknowledge me as a white lesbian, but
because
you want me, so you're not gay.
You're making a mockery.
No, you're making a mockery.
No.
And it's this artificially intelligence. The same thing is laws that are based on hypocrisy and bigotry. Nazi Germany.
You're the bigot.
No, you are.
No, sir,
You're special. You've changed the definition of marriage. Only your people can do that. Only your people.
Now, this is brilliant. I wish this guy was my neighbor. It just goes to show that when the threat of punishment is no longer something that scares people enough to hold up this flimsy ass illusion, they've got nothing but so you're not going to play along. They simply ask that question. Oh, so you're not going to play along. Oh, so then you're just a stupid racist, I guess. Oh, well, there you go. There you go. Proof positive. We live in a racist country. And that really is, that's the end. That's the end. It falls apart there. I told you this maybe it was like 2 election cycles ago. It might have been 2022 or something like that. I said, you know what I'm really excited about? It might have been 2 or 3 years ago, maybe. It might have been in June, the first Pride month that we saw the email stopped, that everything was eerily quiet, that all of the corporations had started to really creep back and not, some of them will put up their default pictures and there's a flag here, flag there. But it started becoming a lot more quiet, a lot more underplayed, as to, kind of entertain the people who have been indoctrinated into that, and that's like their thing. And then everybody else, there was almost like there was a separation, which is kind of interesting. Kind of interesting there. But then again, we see that happen all over the place. People are able to be digitally separated so cleanly, so subtly in everything they do. We talk about that with the way that this show and shows like this one are able to be found and, stayed current with people that subscribe to them. But it's the same thing here that we saw that I think that all of the appeal, the natural appeal, the civil rights flair, all that kind of progress going forward to a bright new world where everybody's free and equal and bullshit and all that stuff, that is gone. All of the money in that account has been spent. No one believes it anymore. It is pure militancy. Pure militancy. And because of that, it's just going to get a little rocky now. It's going to be people flailing and screaming and trying to obstruct ICE until they do themselves in, and just really not understanding the danger that they're in and why they're in it. How they were used, not even that they were part of some kind of a movement it's like they were part of a movement, but they were the pawn. They were a cog. And that's where we are right now. There's a lot of people that just don't get that. And because it's all falling apart, I mean, this is why the gerrymandering is so important. There's absolutely nothing left but illusions that people are not willing to uphold anymore. The illusion that New York is solid blue. New York is definitely blue. I have to imagine. If you got everybody participating, I don't know. But then again, you wouldn't know if everybody participated either, because the voting rolls are so incredibly bad. Same thing with California. Same thing with all throughout New England, even though it's been completely gerrymandered to make sure that there's not one Republican representative that comes out of anything north of Connecticut. That's just incredible. And it's all part of an illusion to make you say, oh, well, New England is solidly blue, even though it's essentially half conservative. And you see the state government of New Hampshire doing incredible things. The state government of New Hampshire continues to do incredible things for school choice again today, emboldening homeschool parents, and they're doing great things over there. You never think that there's a pro-liberty beating heart in blue New England because of the way that we are totally doused in bullshit. They tried to do that, continuing to fight for the identity of Pennsylvania. They want you to believe Pennsylvania and Virginia are blue states like California, so that when you continue to get these bullshit elections stuff down your throat, these results stuff down your throat, you just accept it. Say, well, that was it. That's it. You know, it's just the demographics are changing and it's lost. When really, it's just one magic trick after another. One magic trick after another. Here's an example of how far they're willing to go. You want to talk about the militancy, that it's not about appeal anymore and people being attracted to them naturally. Here's in Virginia. This is from the downballot.com. How Virginia Democrats can overturn the redistricting ruling. Retire the Supreme Court, the state Supreme Court. The state constitution gives lawmakers complete latitude to set judicial retirement age. They should use it, says Quinn Yeargan. Okay? Virginia Democrats are looking for a way to overturn the state Supreme Court's Friday decision invalidating the constitutional amendment temporarily adopting new congressional districts that majority of voters ratified last month. They have a simple and lawful solution: set the entire court into early retirement. So the current law, which was actually, I think, adjusted not too long ago, that sets the mandatory retirement age at 73. I think the last time it was adjusted up to 73 a few years back. Now they're looking to, what's being suggested at least, is that they make it 54. Because the age of the youngest justice in the state of Virginia, Stephen McCullough, who joined the majority opinion, that would make it effective immediately, that all of them have to resign. Because I guess the youngest member on the court right now is 55 years old. Virginia already uses a similar threshold for public employees. Members of the Virginia retirement system with 5 years of service can retire at the age of 55 and receive a partial pension. The Virginia Constitution ordinarily requires a little bit of time for laws to come into effect. However, appropriations bills aren't subject to these restrictions. And the final bit over here, Democrats might prefer other solutions like, actual representative government. But if they want to see the will of voters, because that's what it's about, it's a temporary measure to bring back fairness. Don't you remember? In a time for a November election, there are virtually no other options, and none with as good a chances of success as this one. That's what they're looking for. That's what they're looking for. And I understand how crazy. I mean, everybody's been floating around this map of what it would look like. And this is not the updated map. The new 2026 House ratings from inside the election. This is where they say it may go. This is where some people are suggesting. Now, I know that this kind of scar across the face of Louisiana, that is that gerrymandered county or district that's supposed to be going away. So I don't know what the hell that's all about. But anyway, this is what we're going to be witnessing. And when you say, well, okay, we're months away and there's a lot of things that have to happen here. Including, the fact that we need to have some kind of see some kind of results that are not detoured, or we're just getting taxed to shit, and it sucks out there, it really does. But if you want the deeper conversation, this picture of Virginia is the deeper conversation. I just wanted to bring something up. I saw this Hans Maki, I don't know what his name. Anyway, he says, I do not think people outside of politics fully understand how insane what Virginia Democrats actually did. They redrew the map so that 5 congressional districts effectively originate in Fairfax, which is packed with left-wing government workers, and then stretched outward across the state like tentacles. You see? So these five districts right there, they begin in Fairfax, right near D.C., where everybody's hanging out in D.C., and then they reach out into the interior there. And that's an incredible thing right there. Absolutely incredible, because I believe it's an evergreen analogy for Washington, D.C., and the federal cancer. Now, it also is why my skin crawls when I make the mistake to watch even 30 seconds of a clip of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez talk about billionaires being incapable of earning the wealth that they've created. The wealth that they've created through taking risk in starting business, in investing in one business or another, whatever the hell it is, taking risks with their money and their partners to do something that could become profitable, whatever the hell it is. You're sour about how much they're making, that's your own fucking problem. But she comes at it, of course, from this obtuse standpoint where they couldn't earn the $1 billion themselves, because to earn the $1 billion themselves, they would need to do all of the work that a company of 30,000 employees does collectively. And of course, those 30,000 employees are, in her mind, always underpaid. And it's incredible because, I mean, first of all, that right in itself is completely ignoring the fact that part of the reward for their risk in the first place is job creation, actual job creation, something that any government cannot do. A government can only take money from people who produce and then create paid positions within the government and fund it with money that they steal from other people. That's the only thing that government can do to create jobs. What the best thing they can do to create jobs is get the hell off of the throat of people who can go out there and be productive. Okay? Anyway, it's ironic because, of course, this map in Virginia is an analogy for her line of work. Because while she's railing about billionaires who cannot possibly create wealth on their own, this is her line of work. These district maps of tentacles and tendrils that they only go to serve one purpose only, to be able to steal resources and consent, because we're talking, of course, about the makeup of Congress. So that is consent that's being stolen from people who produce by merit of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's base salary as well. She is, I think, in the top 10% of earners in the country. Base salary in the House of Representatives, I think, is about $180,000. And I got a couple of things for you here. As far as income comparison, I had to grab these two things. The average annual wage in the United States in early 2026 is approximately $63,795. And the median income for full-time workers is roughly $56,000 to $62,000. So, I mean, you're looking at congressional base salary is nearly 3 times the national average. Okay? People who are out there wondering if they're going to have anything to their name when they finally are given permission to retire and live a life after, around 70 for the 4 years that they still have their hips. And meanwhile, she's walking around like a celebrity with not a functional fucking brain cell. Not one living brain cell in her fucking head. Walking around with celebrity status and a 6-figure income for doing nothing, while she talks about how it's impossible for billionaires to not earn that $1 billion. She doesn't earn $180,000. And she's talking like this. This is the cancer that is government. And until we see it as that, see it that needs something that needs to be shrunk, disappeared, and excised, and not reformed. You can't reform cancer. Then it's only going to continue being a thorn in our side. A little bit more on that. The household comparison. I had to grab this too. According to 2024 data, only about 16% of U.S. households have annual income of $200,000 or more, and about 10% fall between $150,000 and $199,000. So someone who has $174,000 salary, obviously doing well in comparison to everybody else. It's not a lot. It's not a lot, but if you think that that's all she's making, all the palm greasing that's going on out there, the Netflix bullshit, whatever the hell it is. So these worthless leeches, man, absolutely worthless leeches in Congress. They have a hell of a lot of nerve talking about how much of whose wealth is actually earned when they're not worth half of what they are paid. And that's just what's on the books. Now, I know a billionaire or two, and they don't take days off. Never in one place. Never in one place. Always working. Now, every generation that follows the generations that create the kind of wealth like that built the fortune, you can make an argument about how much they deserve. But it's still not a basis for stealing from them. But you can make the argument that they did not build that, they didn't earn it, whatever. But then again, that would just be sour grapes because your parents didn't do as good as theirs did. What would be another analogy for the post-World War II America in general is the incredible economic advantages that can be created by 1 or 2 generations and then squandered in 3 or 4 generations that follow, which is where we are right now. We are at the bottom of the hill, wallowing in the shit. So that's all I got on that. Now, here's another story for you. I got this from notthebee.com. It's being spoken about a little bit in the Discord today, and I think it goes right into our next subject a little bit better. This commencement speaker was not prepared for the sheer hatred that college grads have for AI. Gloria Caulfield is the VP of Strategic Alliances for the Tavistock Development Company. Tavistock? The Tavistock? I mean, I guess that didn't even register with me at first. She gave this year's spring commencement address at the University of Central Florida. It seemed to be going great until Gloria brought up AI. Listen to this.
The rise of artificial intelligence is the next industrial revolution. I struck a chord.
Now you struck a nerve. That's a nerve. That's not a chord, my dear lady.
May I finish?
Do you want to finish? That's the whole thing. She's in a very, very weird position right now. Very weird position right now because obviously her whole speech is written and she knows that it is not going to be received very well. So what are you going to do? A couple of knock-knock jokes? That's what I would do.
Only a few years ago, AI was not a factor in our lives. All right.
Well, congratulations, everybody, and I wish you all the best. Go make the world proud. That's where it ends. That's where it ends. Yeah, that is definitely a nerve, my friend. Somebody jumped into that out of touch. The graduation speaker was Gloria Caulfield. She builds AI medtech partnerships for Tavistock's Lake Nona development project. She told a room of humanities students at UCF that AI was the next industrial revolution when their job prospects have been actively harmed by AI. Well, especially if so many of them are artists. No doubt about it. But there's something else that's been going on around now here too. Now, Polymarket put this tweet out that got a lot of people talking. New analysis reveals that female-dominated corporate roles are more vulnerable to AI automation than male roles. Now, this came from when I looked at, because they never tweet out the sources, so I had to go look for it. We had the Brookings Institute, January 2026, measuring U.S. workers' capacity to adapt to AI-driven job replacement. Of the about 6.1 million U.S. workers in the highest AI exposure roles with the lowest adaptive capacity, 86% are women, concentrated in clerical and administrative roles. International Labor Organization, March of 26. They said female-dominated occupations are almost twice as likely to be exposed to generative AI as male-dominated ones. That's 29% versus 16% exposure rate. With the gap even wider in high automation risk categories, women are overrepresented in routine codifiable tasks common in corporate administration roles. Yes. And ladies and gentlemen, this is what we need to talk about. Because whether it was AI, we're talking about the advent of AI threatening these jobs or not, should the jobs exist. I get it. This is a big, independence thing. I know that there are a lot of very conservative-minded women that are in these roles, that are supporting themselves, that are helping to support a family in an economy that, in many cases, really requires all hands on deck to make ends meet. I understand how crazy this is, but there are just too many. There's just too many fake jobs. There's too many. There's too many make work positions. Is that what they call them? I don't. It's hard for me to feel anything because the first thing I see in my mind are all of the little girl bosses that make those TikToks. The 5'3" and an attitude, 5'3" and an attitude, hopping around, the equivalent of all of the TikTok nurses during COVID. And I just say to myself, I would throw myself from the tallest ledge I can find if I had to go to an office and be around these dancing women all day. It would be very, very hard, because I can imagine what has happened over the years. If this is the environment that you're working in, that everything changes, the way that people communicate, gossip, HR up your ass constantly. Miscommunications being listen, working around guys who are overly competitive and all that other stuff. That's a whole other set of things you have to account for. But this is it just may be an unpopular opinion, but maybe not with this audience. because there's a lot of male and female Franklies out there who are pretty well aligned on things like women in combat roles and all that stuff, even though it's the difference between a battlefield and going out and getting yourself, netting yourself a salary and being able to afford a studio apartment somewhere in Phoenix. But I believe a staggering number, not all, but a staggering number of female-dominated jobs, especially in corporate world, are largely make-work positions. And sometimes it actually gets worse when you go down into lesser markets. There is an obsessive need to advance protected classes of people. And yes, women are a collective protected class. And then once you start dividing them into skin and sexual orientation and anything else they got going on that they can wear on their sleeve, then it gets even crazier with the doors that are forced open. And if there are no doors, they will knock down walls and install a doorway. I worked in a gym. I have seen, before I left, I have seen horrors you would not believe. No, the real horrors came after I left. But I have seen gym fitness center director positions, which was to begin with maybe a $55,000 a year salary for one person who was doing it. And when I was working there, I worked under a couple of really great fitness directors. Friends of mine did great, and then they moved on to other things. And every successive time after we had that little PAX, that little moment of a peaceful era at the YMCA, it just got worse and worse. And you come to see a fitness director job that used to be perfectly suited for one person at a decent starting, what would be a decent starting salary, especially for somebody just out of school or something like that, with a little bit of history and experience in fitness and health and whatever. You have your certifications and all that stuff. I had seen that position get split into three ways to make room for three women. And out of all those three, maybe one of them has ever done a squat in their life. And I think one of them may not have even been able to speak English. And never mind the fact that it's just the opposite of what, our friend Barbara Yates out there. Barbara, I love you. When Barbara came on, she made a whole second career preparing professional women to not only be able to thrive in workforce that is male dominated, not to become an office pariah, trying to change the way that business is done and how men operate and to have to try to change the natural world, but how to represent your interests in that world, negotiate fairly on your behalf, learn how to communicate more effectively and all that stuff. It's just not the case. It's not the case. And you can just tell what's being done out there. So AI comes around, and now you have all of this redundancy. Listen, whatever you hear about tech layoffs in the future, just remember this video. I had to grab this video. I said, I wonder if any of those, like Twitter employee gives us the day in the life of a Twitter girl. There's a lot of these coming out, and then they all started deleting them because they were getting absolutely razzed. They were getting razzed by people in huge ways. This was maybe back in 2017 or 18 or something like that. No doubt before Elon Musk took over. And I'd have to imagine people like this were some of the first to go. This is a day in the life of a girl working at Twitter. She went to the San Francisco location when it was still in San Francisco, and here you go.
Welcome to a day in my life as a Twitter employee. So this past week, went to SF for the first time at a Twitter office, badged in. Honestly, took a moment to just soak everything in. What a blessing. Also started my morning off with an iced matcha from the perch.
With an iced matcha from the cart.
I love my iced matcha. Life's great. I'm watching this whole damn thing. I'm not bailing.
Then I had a meeting, so quickly scheduled one of these little pod rooms, which were so cool. They're literally noise canceling. Took my meeting, got ready for lunch. Look how delicious this food looks. Oh my goodness, I was so overwhelmed. Then made my way down to this log cabin area. I don't know what this is, but it was really cool. Played some foosball with my friends to kind of unwind a bit.
Yeah, obviously you need to unwind after this intense day. You need to unwind after a day this intense. Iced matchas, a 15-minute meeting, God knows what the hell that was. Go have a baby lamb chop, have your ass massaged in a log cabin, and then play some foosball just to kind of take the stress. Take a layer of stress off.
Also found this really cool meditation room that I thought was super neat. I didn't do any yoga, but they have this yoga room if you are a yogi, so also thought that was really cool. Had a couple more meetings in the afternoon, had a ton of projects that we needed to knock out. Say hi to my teammates. Went to the library to kind of get some more work done. Obviously had to have our afternoon coffee, so made some espresso. And then before leaving for the day, had some red wine that's on tap. Went up.
I'm still here. Ugh.
And then before leaving for the day, had some red wine that's on tap.
Freak. You freak. Good Lord. Don't you ever say tap like that again. That's not what the hell is that? It's not a day of work. I don't know what that is. It's not a day of work. And that's just awful. That's awful. Now, if you say, well, AI looks like it might eliminate about 86% of corporate jobs for women. Say, I believe it. I believe it. Because we've had enough of a peek into the kind of redundancy that has been created in order to get those numbers up, close that wage gap, and yibbity-doo. And it's just so fun. It's all so artificial. Everything is so artificial, And then what do? You chase that life for however long, and you just kind of just stick around there for a while, and then what? So yeah, I'm seeing that happening. I wonder what you guys think about it all. Call in to let me know what you think about that. If you've seen that kind of redundancy, man or woman, because we see that women are outpacing men in college completion, including in every major racial and ethnic group as well, stuffing people into STEM jobs and all that stuff. And this is all part of that AI white pill. I say if there's anything that we can design or we can focus in on as a white pill silver lining to AI, is that after a while it is going to just it's not going to be able to play by our anti-intellectual rigmarole rules. It's not going to be able to. You can't design a machine to run efficiently when it's base programming, when the mechanics is based on absolute bullshit, like the construction of it. You can't do that. You can't do it. A computer needs to have some kind of stable base operating system that does not mimic the worst of human mental illness. You can't do that. We don't even do well with that. So I think this is one of those white pills we'll be able to pick up and dust off and toss down every once in a while around the way, because what's at the end of that? It's still job loss. And perhaps that means that a lot more women, I mean, if things were going well enough where all those women can actually just find local jobs, get into more vocational work again, start families, get married, all that other shit, that would be great. But like I said before, I understand why people got to work these days. I understand it. I understand it. I wish, I tell you, I can't wait to be able to like employ people. Really do. And I wouldn't be discriminatory against, man or woman if everybody's got, if there is a goal that has to be achieved and they got the skills to achieve it. But so much of everything is based on this kind of nonsense. The redundancy is just nuts. Maybe 1 out of every 100 or 1 out of every 1,000 ends up being some Rosie the Riveter types. But we've got the wine on tap crew, which I think is mostly what's going on here. Anyhow, okay, so I'm going to take your calls, and I also have an etiquette question to ask you. But first, I want to just thank Keto Brainz, because that is my sponsor tonight, and I just hope that it's my forever sponsor, to be honest. My forever sponsor, because there is just nothing that I love more. There's the package for May. Hopefully our forever sponsor, because I've been using the creamer regularly going on for 3 years now. And if you think it's not for you, you're wrong. That's just it. It's an Adderall replacement for your kids in college. It's brain fog adjustment for you 40-somethings, for you pregnant ladies. It's a workout. It's a pre-workout. It gets you in the zone in the morning for those morning meetings at Twitter in San Francisco before your grueling day of doing nothing. And it's damn delicious. Okay? The promo code for May gets you 15% off your total order and enters you into another $600 plus giveaway, which what you see on the screen right now at the end of the month. And guess what? The first 25 orders, Molly got in touch with me, said the first 25 orders placed tonight and or tomorrow get free samples of this new thing that I can't wait to taste. That she's got a packet over here. There's a bundle on her site for like $100, but she's going to give you samples of this. I can't wait to try it. It's called Keto Spike. It's a ketone cacao. It's hot chocolate. She says it's cognition enhancing functional hot chocolate, BHB ketones and electrolytes, scientifically formulated with a delicious chocolate flavor, no aftertaste, no artificial flavor, no artificial color, sweeteners or preservatives. So the first 25 orders using promo code May or anything that's quite frankly related on ketobrainz.com, you're getting samples of this this new hot chocolate that I can't wait to try myself. So there you go. All right, and I have another thing for you guys as I open up the lines officially, because Jim Lee is going to be calling us up in about 20 minutes. So I want to get a couple of you guys in before he calls in. And the number is 914-200-0269. 914-0269. That was made by my cousin Trevor, the claymation. Here's the gesture right up here hanging out on the thing over here. And guess what? For those of you coming to the Spring Fling, if you're going to be here for the VIP night, Trevor and Dave, they're going to be in charge of just keeping the musical jams going on in the other room. So if you're coming and you're musically inclined, then hopefully you find yourself some time on the drum set, my drum set, or you find some time on the acoustic guitars or something like that, and play some Eagles hits, something like that. Let's take a call. Let's take a call or two, especially for this. Let me throw this into the mix first. So you have the redundancy issue, AI coming from corporate jobs, and how much of that is, just the chickens coming home to roost. And then here's another one. Someone said yesterday, their name is Hera. I said, my hot take, if someone proposes to you, this is a public marriage proposal thing. If someone proposes to you in public and you already know the answer is no, you should say yes in that moment. Seriously, I watched the guy get turned down at a baseball game and it was devastating. Imagine that kind of rejection in front of a stadium full of people and then having it spread online for millions to see. That's a brutal level of public humiliation and trauma. It's far kinder to save them from that spectacle. Someone else comes in, says, my hot take is that someone proposing needs to be prepared for a no answer. The other person is not obligated to say yes and then say no later on. If you don't want to be turned down in public, don't have a public proposal. Well, I mean, you also can't propose to somebody until you know you're going to get that answer. You got to be able to get that information out of people. You got to be able to get that information. I don't know where I am on this. Depending on who the person is, if they really are just so sweet and harmless, and you don't want to do that to them, I don't know. I can't find, if I was in a woman's position in that, I don't know any situation where I would be able to say outright yes, and then also pull that away about an hour later after they, start texting people or all that other shit. I don't know. Especially if you're at a sports stadium or something like that. She said yes. You sit down, you start texting your mother and all your friends. She said yes. Say, hey, hey, yes. Now sit down. I don't know what I would do. Ladies, what would you do? Call in 914-200-0269. So we have a couple of questions for ladies. Well, the input from ladies would be helpful on this, but it's open for anybody. I don't think anybody, the public proposal thing, however public you want to make it, you just got to know. You just got to know. You must. 914-200-0269. Give me a buzz. I want to hear from you. I'm going to save some other stuff for the flip side. And in a little bit, we're going to have our good friend Jim Lee calling in. So let's go and try to get through some super chats, shall we? The first one up is Jay Semo says, loved that scream, Frank. I feel your pain. It's maddening. It's maddening. Yeah. Well, I think I had seen that video when it came out years ago, but it is maddening. Truly. Silly Boar, thank you so much. Scott says, let's go. Oh, yeah, for the Super Chat raffle for later on this week, obviously we're going to throw a Polaroid in there. We're going to put in another tube of the Yes Cacao Wild Balls. I was talking to Justin over the weekend. I'm also going to take a golden ticket. We haven't given one of these out. We went from gold last week to a golden ticket. This is a QR code on the back of this. It's going to get you a free full bag of Keto Brainz. That's going over there with the chocolate. And yeah, we'll add some more on. So any super chats you send in on YouTube and Rumble, Pilled, quite frankly, superchat.com goes to a very noble cause, helping this show tread water and dare I say, survive and thrive. Thank you so much for your support. It's a great way to sponsor us nightly. 512, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Frank, it's Katie from Texas.
Hey, Katie, what's going on? You work in corporate America. What do you think about all of this stuff? I said a lot of things.
Yeah, well, no, it's really okay. I get it. Yeah, I agree with the redundancy comments that you made, but the thing is that AI can never take over what humans do, and right now, the corporations are not really firing or letting go of people for actual AI. When they say they're letting people go for AI, AI means actual Indians. So,
oh God! You know what? That's a great point.
Against my Indian homies out there, but they're firing off U.S. employees or firing U.S. employees to hire people overseas or really cheap H-1B work over here, and also it's just kind of like 2008 all over again, where they're just like putting 5 positions on one person, and like for me, it's crazy. Like all of a sudden now, since they don't want to pay like a software engineer, like I'm the software engineer to do certain things now, and I have to use AI. But the thing is that you have to know what you're doing in order to tell AI what to do in order to check the work, because it's stupid. And so it's just like been a horrendous month for me. I'm like physically ill because I'm having to work so hard because all of this AI bullshit.
Wait, you're making? Did you have a software engineering background, or is this something that you had to learn?
No. No, not at all. No, I'm in sales. I do like data analytics and like like Salesforce. It's kind of hard to explain if you're not in the tech world, but no, I'm in no way a software engineer. I do not know programming languages at all. And now I have to be like a software engineer for the sales org of a major corporation.
That's good. You know, it's especially when you go back to the outsourcing to India stuff. It is insane how I had to get on the phone. I forget what the customer service I was looking for. Obviously, everything with banks, but also there's some things that just took me by surprise. How I expect everyone to talk to me. If I ever get a customer service rep on the phone for anything anymore, if a company actually has customer service, I mean, everybody charges a pretty penny, a monthly fee, but they don't have any human support for the people that they're taking money from. And it's just insane. Whenever you do get a person, they are no doubt from another country and mostly Indian. And it's staggering how it only continues.
I know. It seems like it's gotten even worse. And hey, look, I am totally MAGA all the way. I understand Trump's got to do lots of different things that might not make sense to us in order to get us to the end goal. But I mean, shoot, like when they say that they're laying off for AI, they're just using that as an excuse, and they're just hiring people over in India.
Yeah. No, well, as far as that goes, I think AI is it'll definitely be an opportunity for people to say we are downsizing and offloading over here, but yeah, obviously human is superior, and if you can get human over a machine for far less because they are taking the call 6,000 miles away, that's something to consider for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
anyways, good show tonight, and quite frankly, everybody, love you guys.
Thank you for calling. You don't call in enough, but it's great to hear from you.
It's good to talk to you. Bye.
All right, be good. All right, there you go. There's Katie. 914-200-0269. 559, you're on the air. What do you think about all this stuff?
You don't call in enough, but it's great to hear from you.
Oh.
All right, be good.
Hello?
All right, there you go.
Hi.
Hello?
I didn't think you were done with the other call.
Yeah, I know. We're on a delay. Well, it's good to have you on there. So what's on your mind?
Okay, so just my opinion, but I would think that if I were in such a personal, close, dedicated relationship, that a marriage proposal would be the obvious next step. It would embarrass me if I were asked in public, given the being pushed almost into a corner of having to embarrass him and embarrass myself as well, because I don't have the option of saying no now. I just think that would be totally embarrassing. I want the ability for it to be private and to say no or later, or I don't know. I just don't see it as romantic. I see it as grandiose lack of self-esteem, I guess. Let me put a feather in my cap. I can do this in public, but you're embarrassing me. Just my opinion.
You know what?
I'd rather not.
That's an interesting opinion, but I totally get you. I mean, sometimes even if it's something you want to do it in front of other people just kind of makes it like very, very stressful. And yes. I get it. I mean, that's the same thing with sports or martial arts or, learning a new language. Yeah, I want to do it. I just don't want to speak it in front of other people. But right. But let's say you're in a situation where you're with this guy, and that, oh, well, I definitely want to be with him. He wants to be with me. We've had our roundabout conversations about the future. And I think that everybody knows where we want to go with this.
Then yes.
Then that would be fine. You would say yes in public. There's no problem there.
Yes.
Okay.
True.
So now let's talk about the other thing. Obviously this person who is laying down this etiquette for saying no and then yes to save another person's embarrassment. They are coming from they're painting a picture where that kind of understanding of each other did not exist. So let's say you're in a situation where communication obviously is a little bit more on the weak side, and the person you're with is going to propose to you, and you actually don't want to marry them, but you do think that they are really sweet and unassuming and all that other stuff. Would you just have to say the no outright and take the embarrassment, or would you do the yes and then the letdown soft later on?
I would do that.
Yes and then no.
I'm not mean and cruel, but Definitely, I would be saying no, but I would say yes first, just because I would want to save the feelings of that person whose heart was probably in the right place, just didn't have the right. We weren't on the same page.
Yeah, it's a tough one for me. But when I hear the reasoning why that person would say, do it. It's a hot take to do it the other way, to say no and then yes later on. I understand how that could be self-preserving for your own sake too, because those clips always go viral, and it's more than just the guy. It's the guy and the girl, so it's you. So I don't know, whatever. I can see how that would be something that people would consider one way or another. Well, thanks for the call.
Thank you for the very interesting subject matter, as always.
Oh, I'm glad that I'm
sorry, but I don't hate this show.
Good. Finally, somebody out there. Finally.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, Lynn. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Take care. Yeah, I know. I threw a lot at you guys tonight, but it's Monday, and I had a lot of things going. I watched the Sean Strickland fight over the weekend. I don't know what you guys think about that. I thought that was really interesting because I watched a lot of the hype leading up to the fight on Saturday night, and I was talking to, just kind of going back and forth with a couple of people that were watching at the same time in the Discord, and it was interesting because the hype leading up to the fight with between Strickland and the Chechnyan, how vicious it is, but a lot of that stuff usually is vicious and very, openly going after each other, and you say, all right, let's get this settled, shall we? And then how everything kind of disperses at the end. Now, as far as when I say disperses, I mean like the tension is broken, and there's almost like instant camaraderie that is formed between these two fighters that just let it all out. And I know I would have loved to have seen a knockout, but what the hell am I? I'm sitting there on my couch. I paid $13.99 for a Paramount Plus month, and then I immediately canceled it so it doesn't recur. I'm sitting there with my blue light blocking glasses on, drinking a Saratoga water, as these guys are fucking doing something that just watching them makes my lungs want to break out of my ribs onto the outside of my ribs. Light 2-minute rounds with the pads. When me and Rob would practice like that, it was just, it's so that level of conditioning is just so beyond me, because I know what low level conditioning is like as far as a mental struggle, and it was incredible to watch. It really was, especially because I knew a little bit about the making weight situation that was going on there. Definitely that kind of a drop in weight for the Chechnyan, that had to be going against him. I saw him start really kind of losing it in round 2, and I thought that Strickland would have been in trouble just because he was older and everything else, but it was something else. And then to see all that, to see people, all that tension broken, I said, man, that's what we need. Some kind of a metaphorical fist fight in this country. Everything is so passive aggressive. Everything is then of course just terroristic. There's no real sense of honor. We have a very, very shattered and mutated form of what we believe are morals. Everybody has their own set of morals. Nothing's held in common. But I'm looking at that, I was like, damn, these guys are. I can just imagine that. One guy put the belt, the Chechnyan put the belt on Strickland. And I said, damn. So I just get it. I got it. I couldn't feel it. I couldn't feel it like physically, like anybody that gets into a ring and does that kind of thing. But I understood what the hell's going on there. And that was something else. That was something else there too. So I thought about that. But the metaphorical fist fight, the schoolyard fight, that kind of just like you exhaust everything you have, and you just give each other a dap at the end. You say, all right, it's over. I felt that one leave my body. It's over. So we can talk about that on the flip side too, if you want. It is 8:10, so any moment now we're going to have our good friend Jim Lee. Jim Lin is from South Carolina. He has been building up climateviewer.com for many years. He also has, weathermodificationhistory.com. And he is in the middle of launching a very important, hopefully what becomes the culmination of his life's work, a very important petition for the EPA. And I want to hear all about that in a little bit. Let me take this line down over here. He'll be on with us in just a second. There's something I wanted to throw up with you guys. There's a couple of things here. Oh, hold on. There's a voicemail from Todd the Time Traveler. Here we go.
Frank, this is problematic, Todd. I wasn't listening to your show yesterday in real time about the time travelers, but I had to call in. You don't know this about me, but I am a time traveler. I'm from the year 2046, and what I can tell you and your audience is that in the next 20 years, we are going to see an unprecedented number of events that are fake and gay. It's going to be bad, Frank. It's going to be real bad. And the worst part about it is a lot of people are going to be duped, but not you and the Franklies, of course. And here's the good part, Frank. You and Lauren are about to give birth to a superhero. She will be considered by her generation as the next John Connor. She's going to do great things. She's going to lead the resistance and make you and the Franklies and all of humanity very proud. So that's the good news. Now that I think about it, though, since I have disclosed this to the world live on your show, you may want to put Lauren in hiding immediately.
I know. I was just going to say, what'd you just do to me here? I hope not. I hope not. Let somebody else's son take the reins on that. And I'll just I'll keep my girls in a bunker somewhere for as long as I can. With even though the shotgun shells aren't going to do anything against the machines, you have to find something else to do. Anyhow, that's all I got. Todd sounded like one of those private equity guys. I've been watching this guy. He does this ridiculous private equity character, like an investor guy who's just snooty, one-ups you on everything, just, the superiority of his family and all that stuff. He's on Instagram. And every last one of his videos, I finally subscribed to him. He just kept popping up and I kept liking it because even though it was annoying, I loved it. And I don't know why Todd was just, he sounded like he was giving investment advice, but not like investment advice, like where to put your money, but just, I don't know, just that whole like fake and gay. It's bad, no upside in this investment.
It's going to be real bad. And the worst part about
it's going to be real bad. The way he said that is funny.
We are going to see an unprecedented number of events that are fake and gay. It's going to be bad, Frank. It's going to be real bad.
That right there. You never want your financial advisor to tell you that. It's going to be bad. Real bad. No. The whole market is going belly up. Fake and gay, right down. We're going down. It's getting faker and gayer by the day, my friend. I would pull out. Maybe some light action in a money market account or something like that, but please. All right, anyway. Let's go on over to talk with a friend of ours who knows a little something about fake and gay, and his name is Jim Lee, climateviewer.com. It's been a few months since we spoke. No, maybe 2 months or so. It's so great to have you back on. How you doing, man?
Feeling mighty gay for you right now, Frank.
Thanks, man.
So, whoops. 412, 42. What is it? I saw you on Rumble and you were looking mighty smexy.
Well, on Rumble?
Yeah, you were I think it was 42 Productions or something.
Oh, 412.
412, that's what it was.
That's with Adel, my good buddy Adel.
Yeah, he followed me on X, and then I followed, because I'm a troll and I go scrolling, and I was doom scrolling his wall, and I'm like, "There's Frankie."
Dude, if you should get on Adel's show. He needs to talk to interesting people like you. I think that you would wow a lot of people in his audience for sure.
Hell yeah, man.
Let's
do it.
I'll set that up.
I'm down for it.
Well, I just want to talk about what's going on in your world because this is exciting, and I know that you're always thinking big picture, how to put the work that you've done over the years to use to try to benefit not only the country but the world. And I know you have partners and friends along the way. Tell us about this FDA petition you put together, why it's so important, and what people need to know.
Well, because the Food and Drug Administration is in charge of all the weather control. No, actually, it was an EPA petition.
Oh, FDA, EPA.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. So,
good dog.
We've been working on this for about a year in total, and I've really been working my, ass to the bone for the last 6 months on this. We finally filed the petition for rulemaking with the EPA on the 4th. So on May the 4th, be with us. We have petitioned the federal government to do something about the chemtrails. The difference is that, with the amount of time and effort that went into putting this petition together, I literally had to rethink everything I ever believed about the subject and then put it on paper. So this is literally like 11 years after I testified at the EPA. And when I did that, I took it very, very seriously. I only had 10 minutes to speak, and I probably spent like two months writing that 10-minute speech. Every bit of it's still true today, which is freaking crazy. But with this petition, we're literally explaining to everybody how, jet exhaust is geoengineering. Jet exhaust is weather modification. Jet exhaust is killing people. Jet exhaust has all the metals you ever heard about from chemtrails. And the silence is freaking deafening. On top of that, we did a live stream, and I did it through my Restream. Thank God, because I was being hacked the entire time. Now, Frank knows this, and I don't know how many people in the audience know this, but I do the security on Frank's PC, and Frank has done real well. Because I know he'd be calling me crying if it weren't working. Guess what happened to my PC?
And I have called you crying before.
Many times.
Okay.
I was booted from my own live stream 4 times during the stream.
Jeez.
If anybody wants to see this, go to climateviewer.news. It is the pinned article, it's the top article, taking chemtrails to court. It's on my Substack right now, climateviewer.news. At climateviewer on YouTube, you can go there and watch the stream. On my climateviewer.news Substack, you can actually download the petition yourself and the PowerPoint slides that I used during the presentation, which just kind of graphically lay it out for people that don't want to read a whole lot of stuff, because it's 36 pages and 170 citations. It's a complicated topic, but the fact that literally like everybody in the chemtrail sphere kind of collectively just gasped and then just moved on with their life is the most telling part of all, because not the chemtrail debunkers nor the chemtrail industrial complex has got the balls, the cojones to even say something about it. And you couple that with the hacking during the live stream, the fact that my modem, my router, my Wi-Fi hotspot, my computer, and my wife's phone all got jacked with all that night, and some of the other participants in the live stream, means we're like hella right over the target, dude. It's the biggest home run in the history of chemtrails that nobody's talking about. So the reason we did this, 37 states are trying to ban geoengineering and weather modification, thinking that somehow that's going to make the white lines in the sky go away. It has failed miserably in Tennessee and Florida and Louisiana, despite actually being passed. And all the other states are kind of, going, we're not really getting anywhere. The reason why is because they don't have any jurisdiction over planes flying above in the sky, because of the Federal Aviation Act, and the Environmental Protection Agency has the right to regulate jet fuel emissions and things like that. So we specifically targeted this because, and people are like, well, the EPA is not going to listen to you. Well, you don't understand the Administrative Procedure Act. The reason we did this is because you have to first petition the government. You have to ask them, hey, pretty please, with sugar on top, fix the fucking sky. And if they don't, Then 180 days afterwards, we can seek judicial review, meaning we can sue the federal government. For all those people that are out there thinking magically that some people could just decide they're going to sue the government because of chemtrails, you actually have to follow the process. And this is the process. And we've done the homework. And I played backseat lawyer, on this project as well. My friend Renette Senham, she started the whole thing. Because I'm one of those people, I'm a creative type. I'm not going to sit down and make 6 months worth of work for myself. Shit, I'd rather be, doing silly videos and things like that. But regardless, Renette started the project. She spent, more than 6 months just asking me to help her along while she did the bulk of the work. And then when we got down towards the deadline constantly moved till finally we got the petition all together after probably more than 100 revisions. At one point, this document was literally 98 pages long. And I shrunk it down to 36 pages. We've got it, submitted to the EPA. The countdown is now ticking. So they've got 180 days to respond. And if they don't, or if we don't like their response, it's on like Donkey Kong. Meanwhile, all of the main chemtrail, narrative pushers, whether they call it chemtrails or they call it climate engineering or whatever they like to call it, there is not a word so far. Nobody's been able to even question anything in the document is the most telling part, plus all of the attacks. I didn't know that I was even going to be able to do this because literally yesterday, my computer was out, bro. Like, you know how they say that a painter's house is the last house to get painted?
Yeah. That's just like I never eat at a barbecue that I'm cooking at. I never eat.
Right. I barbecued for I grilled. We don't say barbecue. Barbecue's a noun, not a verb.
You're right.
I grilled yesterday for everybody. But when it comes to like cybersecurity, of course, I go and I look afterwards and I'm like, bro, I haven't patched my own shit in like 2 years. which is typical stupidity. But this is like, and I'm going to play into what Katie was talking about because I was listening right before we came on. The whole thing with AI right now, you heard about Claude Mythos, right?
Yeah, I will, whatever you were talking about, yeah.
Yeah, so Claude Mythos drops, and then they suddenly realize that Claude has gone from Claude coding to Claude the superhuman hacker. And it literally found like 0 days in FreeBSD, which are 26 years old. It found vulnerabilities in software that's been around for 26 years that no security analyst or hacker on the planet has been able to find. And then they quickly pulled it from the market and then offered it to like Google and Microsoft and Oracle and, just enterprise, go fix your shit. Firefox rolled out an update for their 150 update with like, I think like 150 0-day vulnerabilities that nobody knew about, which means 0 days have been spent processing this vulnerability. Somebody could take full control of your computer. And AI figured that AI is now the greatest hacker on the planet. And I was on your show 3 years ago saying exactly that if you took a large language model and it understood every programming language and it understood the hardware, the software, and all of that it would be able to find all these vulnerabilities millions of times per second. And sure as hell, that just happened. So now they've got this whole thing. I think it's called Star Glass or Looking Glass. It's not Looking Glass. I could Google it, but I'm not gonna detract.
I got some questions about that in particular. But as far as the petition goes, because I don't want to leave any stone unturned with this. It's been one of those things where I know that you don't want to get between a mama bear and her cub. I also know just from different, not just even just this subject, but other subjects, you don't want to get in between a conspiracy lover and their favorite theory. And when it comes to chemtrails, in the years that I have known you, it has shown me, you've shown me how actually limiting, and tell me if I'm getting this wrong, but how limiting the average chemtrail theories actually are. Because we know that there are cloud seeding programs. We know that there is geoengineering that goes on, that that we're being sprayed for one reason or another. These are programs that exist. But what I have picked up on especially the last few years from you is that just because on one day or another you look outside the window and you see a pristine blue sky, that doesn't mean that the skies are clear. That just because you don't see any clouds, you don't see any trails or anything like that, it just means that the atmospheric conditions were not favorable enough to produce a visible trail that day. And in really understanding that, it makes this situation so much worse.
So what people, the sad part is that people honestly think that if I don't see lines in the sky, it's not a spray day. And what our petition shows, like I've literally been saying this for more than a decade, like damn near 15 years, that all of the metals, all the black carbon, all the sulfuric acid, all that stuff is happening whether you see a cloud or not. And this is the part where the lie comes in, the manipulation comes in. These people are literally running interference, not only for the airline industry, but for actual geoengineers. Breaking news. The World Health Organization wants to regulate geoengineering right now. These are the kinds of things that are going on behind the scenes. Nobody is even talking about, because the chemtrail narrative drowns out everything else. And I've maintained since the beginning, because I'm an anti-geoengineering activist. I don't like weather modification. I don't want these things to happen. But we can't even really talk about the stuff that's going on because people are so focused on just this one thing for all the wrong reasons. And the cult leaders that are pushing their narratives, they have zero evidence to back this up. That's why they fear me. That's why they refuse to debate me. That's why they don't want me platformed. And they actively go out to make sure that I'm not platformed. Because the more people figure out that the reality of the situation is actually worse than what they're talking about, 90% of the time, it ain't Morgellons, it ain't smart dust, but it damn sure is weather modification. Damn sure is geoengineering.
That's what I was really getting around to, is that I understand that anytime somebody like you or anybody in the chat room that has taken initiative on one thing or another, and there is going to be an upsetting of the apple cart or some kind of previously existing authority on a subject, there's going to be some confrontation to varying degrees. But as far as average people, I see a lot of people misconstruing your work as chemtrail denial, when in actuality, what you are saying here is that the situation is multiple times worse. That just because you have a clear day out there, it doesn't mean that it's not a non-spray day. It's just that atmospheric conditions that day are not allowing you to see the trail. It's always going on. But here's where we get around to solutions. Because the Climate Change Incorporated people out there who go and show up to one place or another, all the celebrities converge on one sleepy mountain town to talk about climate change. Everybody brings their jets in and stuff like that.
They go level some rainforest to go right there.
Absolutely.
But literally the last one. Go ahead.
But what they usually talk about is how we need to essentially deindustrialize the world and limit the way that people are able to travel and experience the world when they get on jets whenever the hell they want. You're not on that camp, right? You're talking about actually cleaning up fuel quality. What is it?
Right. And I mean, I put it at the very beginning because I know the stupidity of, like, I know all the counter arguments, and the first one, always, well, you're just going along with the WF agenda because you want people to fly less. No, I don't give a shit about that. I literally put what we're not proposing, and I put less flights, sustainable aviation fuel, biofuels, UN WF agendas. We're not down with any of that. That's not our goal. What we are about is ending fake clouds, ending geoengineering by commercial aviation, and accountability and verification. Like Ronald Reagan said, trust but verify. Let's put ultrafine particle sensors out there and let's find out. You know what? We could all be wrong, or we could be really, really right, and it's worse than anybody could ever.
But
imagine.
But let's say your worst fears are confirmed. What would the solution be if not swapping out fuels?
There's a lot that can be done, and at the end of the day, we're specifically asking them to just like what they did with the trucking industry. Trucking was 500 parts per million sulfur. They reduced it to 15 parts per million. Same thing with aviation. We're saying the ASTM standard is 3,000 parts per million sulfur. Reduce it to 15. You did it for trucks. Why can't you do it for planes? Because when planes emit sulfur in the upper troposphere and the lower stratosphere, guess what happens? That is stratospheric aerosol injection. That is geoengineering. That's what David Keith and Bill Gates and Ken Caldera were talking about. Putting sulfur into the stratosphere. Not freaking aluminum, barium, strontium. Nobody ever in the history of geoengineering has ever written a paper or said it public or been at a conference and said, you know what, we want to cool the planet by blocking the sun with barium and strontium. They did briefly mention aluminum, but that was also thrown out pretty quickly by the majority of the scientific community. And they went right back to what they said to begin with, sulfur. Why? Volcanoes put sulfur into the stratosphere. Mount Pinatubo erupted in 1994. 1997, Lawrence Livermore National Lab said, we can mimic volcanoes by putting sulfur into the sky. 2013, David Keith said, if we do a program like I want to do, we could put about 1 million tons of sulfur into the stratosphere. And that would kill many tens of thousands of people. So for all the chemtrails, I see, Lord, forgive me. I'm doing it again. I don't want, they forgive them for they know not what they do. They are not chemtards. They are been led astray by people who are not well-intentioned. I challenge everybody in the audience to this. If you believe I'm wrong and your guy is so right, then ask yourself one simple question. If a person is scaring the shit out of you and they're not offering you a solution, they are not an activist. They're an info-fucking-tainer, and I am not your info-fucking-tainment. I am not here to win a popularity contest. I'm an activist. So I'm going to act on what I can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt and try to do something about the damn thing and offer solutions. They might not be the right solutions. I'm all ears for solutions. But if you're not looking for pragmatic people trying to come up with a solution to the problem, and they're simply pointing at the sky going, look at my cloud, that's dangerous, pay me money, then you don't know the difference between activism and infotainment. Now you do. I've explained it to you. It's really simple. So go do that litmus test on every one of them. Go ask Dane Wigington. Hey, Dane, what's your plan to get rid of the climate engineering? He's, well, it's DARPA. It's the secret shadow government. There's nothing we can do. So, please continue to just support me. Bullshit. At this point, the bullshit ends. So that's where we're at right now. I don't do fear porn. The only thing I fear in life is my God and what I don't understand. I don't fear anybody in this world walking on 2 feet. I don't want to run into a bear. I'm not an idiot. But at the end of the day, fear porn is of the devil. Fear is evil. So people pushing fear are, in my book, they're the problem. Whether it comes from the government, whether it comes from, the World Economic Forum or the United Nations, or if it comes from some narcissistic capitalist on frickin' YouTube, I don't give a shit who it comes from. If they're pushing fear and no solution to that fear, then they are a net negative for the health and well-being of people. And I've seen too many people calling me up, scared to death to walk their dog outside because of a bunch of freaking clouds in the sky. And I say, if you're suffering from nephophobia, which is fear of clouds, then you might want to understand how and when those clouds are in the sky. Schmidt-Appelman criterion. I made a real easy website. You can learn it in 5 damn minutes called chemtrailfacts.com. That website is 5% done. When I'm done with it, there's going to be nothing you can say about chemtrails where the answer is not already there. But I'm not wasting my time trying to convince the public, because no amount of evidence will ever convince an idiot. But for the people who are willing to question their own belief, metacognition, they will come to this and they'll say eventually, I've been hearing the same shit from these people for a decade, 2 decades. Nothing has changed. Their narrative hasn't changed. Something's not right. I suggest if you want to see the other side of the story, take a look. Go to Climate Viewer News, climateviewer.news. It's my Substack. Go to read the article, Taking Chemtrails to Court. Watch the video. Download our EPA petition. You can read it yourself. You can fact check it yourself. You can phone a friend if you don't understand the words. And there's a PowerPoint presentation where I literally made infographics for the whole damn thing.
You got to get just, you didn't give me that link. I'll put it in the Substack for this so people can go read more about the actual day in court. That would be, or the fight to get it adjudicated would be great. So let's say that the petition is answered in an adequate way. You don't have to then go and sue, and you are now treating with the government.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. So then, what's the first step? Because you said you want to be able to, and then from there we can just let everybody read and get updates from you. So, the first step you said is actually testing to try to confirm what you think about the fuel and all that stuff.
Yeah, we specifically asked for 3 things. That fuel sulfur reduction. Let me back up. We're asking for an endangerment finding. And this is some specific legal jargon that basically says, under the Clean Air Act, these chemicals, the things that we're talking about, the chemicals and the clouds, are a reasonable threat to human health and welfare. The definition of welfare includes things like visibility impairment, economic loss, crop loss, weather modifications, one of them, believe it or not. So this fits the definitions of not only human health concerns because it kills people. Jet exhaust kills more people than plane crashes. I mean, this is just statistical fact. All of this is provable in a court of law. So when I said taking chemtrails to court, think you're not talking to your buddies, your clique, all the people that agree with you already. You got to stand in front of a judge and convince a jury that what you're telling them is true. You can't simply come in there and say, I know because I seen it with my eyes and I checked the flight radar and the plane wasn't there. And they're going to say, okay, well, do you have any documentation? No, I'm lazy. I just talk shit on the internet all day long. No, this is evidence that, I've got scientists and politicians and freaking policymakers reaching out to me going, whoa, holy shit, we're going to have to digest this. And that's what we're doing. And this is not saying that it's the only answer. But it is a answer. And I think it's the right answer based on 20 years of doing this. Let's go ahead and act on what we can prove and see where it takes us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
I mean, at the end of the day, there are 40 plus million flights per year. David Keith and the geoengineer said they only need 14 planes to geoengineer the whole planet. So if there's 40 million flights a year, typically 100 to 150,000 flights a day, everybody's looking for a needle in a haystack and ignoring the haystack. We're dealing with the haystack. If we actually get our way and they do fuel sulfur reduction, mandatory contrail avoidance, meaning there are areas in the sky where these planes are going to make these clouds and you can fly around them shits. You want to know how anybody can fact check me on this. This is why the military does it over battlefields, because you don't want big white lines coming out of the back of your bomber, especially your B-2 bomber, which costs so much money.
That's interesting.
Because guess what they can do? Then they can look up and they go, all right, there it is. Shoot it down. What good is stealth technology if you got a big white freaking line coming out of the back of it? So they've engineered contrail mitigation systems into all of our stealth fighters or stealth bombers. The people who make these flight plans, they fly around ice supersaturated regions so they do not create persistent contrails, let alone even short contrails. They do everything they can to avoid them, makes higher visibility. If that's true with the military, then you can do that with commercial aviation. In fact, they already have. Google AI has partnered with American Airlines, and they did a test last year where they were going across the North Atlantic corridor. They were able to reduce the contrails produced by all of the commercial flights at American Airlines by 68%. So that's 2/3 of the planes that should have made white lines in the sky. They didn't. So if that's possible, then why the hell aren't we doing it? Now, of course, the pushback is going to be, well, Jim, you're just making the lines go away. You're not actually dealing with all of the pollution that's coming out, like the metals and all the things. That's true. But can we, what, Nikki, fine. It was 69% of contrails were reduced. I misspoke. I mean, they 69 the North Atlantic corridor, and that is what matters. If we can reduce the amount of clouds by 3/4, then we're doing pretty damn good without having to change technology at all. Just simply flying in a different spot. And the reason it's important is because the geoengineers and the climate cult, they want to make more clouds, cooling clouds by day, none by night. All the quotes are in the paper. All the quotes are in the PowerPoint presentation. You can read it yourself. I've said this multiple times on my Substack, in my videos, but this is a federal notice that's going to end up on regulations.gov if we have our way, with a public comment period. If they deny our ability to do that, then we can take them to court, just like the Obama administration did with EPA versus Massachusetts versus EPA, which led to the greenhouse gases are a public health threat, and they were trying to regulate greenhouse gases coming out of airplanes. We're just doing the same thing. We're playing the game that they played. We're just trying to play it a little better and say, stop making the friggin' clouds.
Yeah.
It's really that simple.
Well, I'm telling you, it is crazy because how much more sense it really makes. It makes practical sense now. And it doesn't really, like I said earlier on in our segment here, it doesn't really take away the urgency of the whole thing. It actually makes it even more of an urgent matter. The haystack, the needle, ignoring the haystack situation is great because, again, all throughout this, you've never denied the fact that there are these actual programs, that there are planes that are up there that are there.
I'm going to push back really hard on that. For all of the jackass gatekeeping, narrative stealing manipulators out there who try to label me as Jim Lee the jet fuel guy who says that none of this is true, go to weathermodificationhistory.com. I created the most comprehensive website on the entire fucking internet. None is even close. Don't try to link me, Dane Wigington, you retards in chat. I see you over there. Don't even. It's a thing. At least once per visitation, I have to curse at somebody in the chat. They're actually asking if Dane's a Fed, so I totally made that shit up. Go to weathermodificationhistory.com. I have literally frequently asked question pages on weather modification, geoengineering, and space weather modification, the entire history of weather control back to the 1850s, 850 newspaper articles back to the 1800s. There is more information about provable evidence of weather modification, geoengineering, and things like HAARP, space weather modification, sounding rockets. All of that is there. And none of that has anything to do with chemtrails. So weather warfare is a thing. Geoengineering is a thing. Weather modification is a thing. I wouldn't have devoted my life to trying to stop these things. And the way I look at it, people talking about chemtrails are making my job harder because they've confused the public so much that cloud seeding is geoengineering. HAARP is geoengineering. It is not. These words, I don't think these words don't mean the thing that I think you think they mean. I mean, like, I'm butchering the Princess Bride quote, but that's where we're at, bro. I mean, that's literally where we're at.
Well, it seems that out of all the years of getting the updates and just the education and being able to ask questions and lay all this out, we're knocking on some pretty important doors now. I'm looking forward to that. Make sure you give me the link so I can get it in the description. But because we only have a few minutes left, I got to ask you about this. I don't think we're going to get around to any of the cybersecurity stuff, unfortunately. But I saw this popping up over the course. I mean, there's a few tweets that have been going around, and then I saw the Jerusalem Post take it on head on. First is one of those tweets from Truth Teller. It says Iran is now getting record rainfall after years of orchestrated drought. So what changed? After Iran bombed the secret center for cloud seeding, cloud pulling, fog, and radars in the UAE, everything changed. So apparently Iran bombed a weather modification facility in the UAE that has been pulling rain away from them and causing a drought for many years. And the Jerusalem Post picked up on this, said stolen rains return, scientist dismantles viral Iran-Turkey theory. Here, just there, the rebuttals, here it is. No such technology exists. Well, I mean, the technology exists. See, this is where, this is where it all comes down to. Perhaps the claims are misattributed, but then the Jerusalem Post will go out there and say that the technology to steal rain or to misdirect it doesn't even exist, which that's bullshit as well. But the rebuttals follow a burst of conspiracy theories that attempted to link sudden heavy rainfall across Iran, Iraq, Turkey to regional conflict and airspace closures as fighting escalated. Air corridors were restricted. Social media posts allege that the cloud seeding aircraft used by the U.S. and its allies have been grounded, causing stolen rains to return. Any thoughts on that? I don't know how much you've studied the war from a...
Bro, this took me 5 minutes. Now, first, while I'm explaining what actually happened, I want you to just go to your DMs on X real quick. I gave you a link, so people can actually see. This has already been on weather modification history since 2018 when they said it about the cloud theft. This has been ongoing since 2011 when Mahmoud Ahmadinejad said that Europe was stealing. There it is. Iran accuses Israel of cloud theft. And all of the quotes and all of the articles and all of the history going from 2011, 2012, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad saying Europe stealing Iran's rain, to it morphed into Israel and other countries are stealing Iran's clouds, to finally they were very specific and said Israel, the UAE, and other countries are stealing Iran's clouds. And then interestingly enough, the UAE got a big old flood, didn't it? And that whole, anyway, we won't get sidetracked. So what's the claim? The claim is they shot some freaking radar and that magically all the rain came back. Now, in the Middle East, the Iranians hit an ANFPS 132 Block 5. This is called a SPARS, SSPARS, early warning radar in Qatar. This was at Al Udeid Air Base. And it's basically a $1 billion, missile defense. It's more of, this is like a Cold War kind of style radar. It's a phased array radar for tracking like intercontinental ballistic missiles and things like that. Also in multiple units in Jordan, UAE, and Saudi Arabia, the THAAD system. The THAAD system is it's better than the Patriot missile system. And it uses what's called an ANTPY2, or what they call an ANTPY2. The ANTPY2 is an X-band radar. It is so finite that if you had one in California and you launched a baseball into space from Washington, D.C., not only could you track that ball 500,000, miles into space, you could tell the rotation of the baseball. That's how accurate the X-band ANTPY2 radar is. Now, just because they shot and blew up a couple of THAAD missile radars and a SPARS radar has zero to do with the weather changing in Iran. And I'll say it like this. At the Battle of Antietam, it rained on the battlefield. Why was that? Because of black powder rifles. Because it contains a lot of black carbon. Black carbon is an excellent cloud condensation nuclei. And what comes out of the back of airplanes? Black carbon. What does the water condense on when they call it a condensation trail, a contrail? Sticks to black carbon. What happens when you blow up an oil tanker? It burns, and a lot of black carbon goes into the sky. And so when you bomb the fuck out of an entire country and you send a plumes of aluminosilicate, which is basically dirt. It's called CMAS, CMAS, calcium, magnesium, aluminosilicate. So when you bomb ground, dirt go in air. Dirt is also something water sticks to because it's aluminum. Bruh. I mean, this is a no-brainer, but of course, everybody's so desperate to constantly say, but my NEXRADs control the weather, but my radars, but my HARP.
You know, it makes yeah. Sorry, no, I'm sorry. It makes a lot of sense. I remember you going through those early 19th century examples of cloud seeding, and being able to take us out of one dust bowl or another, and a lot of that was just controlled burns to put soot in the air and to allow the stuff to kind of like cling.
That's where my timeline starts in 1850 with James Pollard Espy, who said, let's light forest fires on the West Coast to make rain on the East Coast. And that was in 1850. So the idea that soot, black carbon, rises into the air. Guess what? My Native American brethren were doing the same thing. They were burning fires. They were dancing around, kicking up little dust storms and beating drums, because sonic frequency can have an effect on the weather. That is a fact. Electromagnetic frequency, other than lasers and cloud ionizers, there has never been one example ever produced of a radio frequency wave affecting weather in any way, shape, or form, because it physically cannot interact with water molecules. It cannot heat air columns. The sky is a river, and it would dissipate too quick. Laws of thermodynamics, square inverse law, there's science involved here. So that's why, trying to explain this to normies, you're never going to get it. I mean, go talk to your favorite AI and then ask it all the questions, say, make it make sense. What is the square inverse law? Is there any possible way where a 40 million watt radar in Eglin Air Force Base could modify the weather? And the answer would be no. No matter what the frequency, unless it's ionizing radiation, no. So that's the problem with, these. Yeah, it gets clicks. Yeah, and I could go be a millionaire tomorrow, because I could, like I said in a video, literally, dude, I made a video, but I have morals, so I can't. I'm a Christian, I have morals. I can't go back on and ruin my reputation just to get fucking famous.
You can't, but you can't find a way. Listen, you got to find a way to make the some kind of a formula that makes a stream that is giving everybody the truth attractive in the algorithm. I mean, I think it's just as exciting, to be honest. And obviously there's some tension involved, because everybody is motivated by different things. But I don't know. I say, if you can call some attention to a stream that's going to put people considering especially now, man. You're going to want a little bit of public momentum at your back as you're knocking on the door of Washington, D.C. You got to do that. But
yeah, but I mean, to go out and then say something that, literally, I have built relationships where, I have people in the weather modification industry telling on other people in the weather modification industry, because I'm respected for telling the truth. So when I've got snitches in the UAE who are telling on other people that are there, that's something that, you spend 20 years building that reputation. You don't destroy it for $1. And at the end of the day, I'm never going to do that. I mean, I'll be wherever I be's at, because at the end of the day, I'm the most fucking influential person nobody's ever heard of, and I like it that way.
Well, there you go. That's some big balls you got there, Jim. That's why I like talking to you after all these years, though, because this is like I said, it makes sense, and of course you like to dial it up in some flowery ways, and we have fun. So I'm really happy that I hope we get to see you in some big time government settings here, trying to bring the heat.
Well, I'm working with some people right now, and eventually the legendary status will come to the forefront. You guys have no idea what the fuck's actually going on behind the scenes, because I don't tell you. But at the end of the day, it takes bigger balls to say the thing nobody wants to hear because it's the truth than to go out and placate everybody and tell everybody exactly what they want to hear, so that you can go do the podcast rounds and soak up a bunch of millions of dollars worth of, gullible people who think you're out doing the right thing. It's just not worth it to me. Like, I'm good. I don't pay rent. I own my double wide. Fuck you. I've got fuck you money because, I got love enough to spare, and that makes me a millionaire.
Okay.
So,
well,
there you go.
Well, thank you for spending some time with us tonight, my friend. I can't wait to follow it up again. Obviously, I have leftover topics, so maybe we can bring you on sometime in June. And all the best to you. Congratulations. Send me that link so I can put it in the description.
Yeah, and everybody look up Project Glasswing. That's the thing I was talking about earlier. Project Glasswing, and this is the Claude Mythos hacks the world, and basically now all of cybersecurity is going, well, we're pretty screwed. We're going to have to figure out how to, this is a brand new world, man. Everything we thought was secure is no longer secure. And thank you, AI.
There you go. All right. Have a good night, Jim Lee, climateviewer.com. And also just find him on Twitter. He's pretty responsive, and go harass him a little bit. He loves it.
Yeah, at Climate Viewer on X, Rumble, and YouTube. Hit me up anytime. I'm constantly trolling on X. You want to get in a fight? I'm there. Come at me, bro. Okay. We'll do this. I'll even invite you on my show. We can debate if you got the balls to do it. Love you, mean it.
Take care, man. Have a good one.
Later, bro.
There goes Jim Lee. Man, we've been doing shows for almost a decade now, and I'm glad he still comes by to hang out. All right, real quick, a couple of things, and then and on the flip side, I want to get into some of this stuff. Maybe I can go into the other room and work on the drum set with you guys, because we got to do the drum streams again, and I think I can go live from my phone, not a Zoom call, an actual thing. So come to the flip side in a second. We'll do that. Aaron the Awesome says, for the gay list, I would add that gay little basket at the grocery store. No man should ever be seen using that. Just push a damn cart. That I can see that. Now the baskets, you can actually pull some of those baskets on wheels like you do the suitcases on wheels at airports. Oh, and the kids that used to have the backpacks with wheels. I don't know if those still happen, where you just once those start popping up, and kids were showing up at school with the backpack that they're overstuffed, and an overstuffed backpack already made you a target, and then to put them on rollies was just not. It didn't work out good for kids. It didn't. But there you go. Thank you, Aaron. Jay Britt says, I hate this show. It makes me gay. Joe Martinez, thank you so much. Thank you guys for a little bit of support tonight. It's really, really appreciative. We got a lot of big things trying to do this year, and especially in preparation for the new edition of the family. And it would really be awesome to have a lot of you on board as sponsors and everything else. $5 goes a long way. It punches your ticket to this Friday's film club. We're going to be watching Constantine together at 8:30 p.m. You'll be getting that private link sent to you if you're a monthly sponsor on Patreon, Subscribe Star, directly through the website. You can find all that at the Quite Frankly.tv sponsor page. And yeah, remember, it's only getting better. Next month we're getting, next month's June. So it's a month after that. Charlie Robinson's coming back from his trip to Croatia in July. That's when we do Huckleberry Finn for a book club. But Silly Boar, Scott, Corey, Safety Net says golden blessings for protection as Jim Lee fights the good and necessary fight. Truthful Mama, Nathan W. says imagine women's make work roles being replaced by AI becomes an inadvertent mechanism that re-incentivizes unitary families. It could. It could, but like I said before, it's tough because a lot of obviously there's the social programming stuff to even the workplace to inject women into places that were traditionally male dominated. But also there's the fact that it's hard for even single people to survive out there financially. And when you have a family of 3, 4, and if you need more, then everybody's got to be pulling it in. I understand. So yeah, the incentivizing is there. Nature is going. You see enough. If you spend some time on the internet, you see enough of it happening now. Of even girls that have not even gotten out of their 20s yet. They're like in their late 20s, knocking on the door of 30, that are just like, I hate this, and I just want to be home with children and a family. Or women that are in a, knocking on the door of 50 who just bought the programming and just like, what have I done? Like I said, all the stuff that we're seeing right now has not been around forever. It's not compatible with human nature and the natural way of things. So you're seeing a cycle, a 60, 70-year cycle that is really coming down hard. It's all falling apart. And it only peaked because we were working off the surplus of good times in a more naturally stable existence, working through that early to mid part of the 20th century. A lot of surplus that was given, squandered so that we can, diddle and tinker. And, we had good times along the way, but obviously they're a piper that need to be paid along the way as well. Okay, Not Your Mom says it's a beautiful Monday. Is it? Yes, it is indeed. Amethyst Cat, the Sentinel, says another headline today is that Donald Trump is urging Congress to forego the gas tax to lower prices until such time gas is back to an affordable normal rate at 375 million gallons, gallons purchased per day. Wait, 375 million gallons or dollars? There's a dollar sign in there. Purchase per day, that is $67.5 million a day for $24.6 billion per year in federal revenue. It's a rounding error on the $7 trillion budget. $5 gallons is really getting old, man. This is all getting old. All getting really old. That being said, it's a good start and could be permanent. The original purpose was to build the interstate system that it built it. And I'm sure the fund is rated for other purposes anyway. Great show. Yeah. Well, good. If that's the 5D chest there to get rid of the gas tax forever, again, going to have some legislative help. And Congress just loves dildoing themselves instead of doing anything meaningful. Congress just loves dildoing themselves. Thank you, Amethyst Cat. And Deansy says, love you, my friend. Much love to Deputy Jim. And then Doodah Man says, I'm gay. My wife is gay, and that was very interesting regarding chemtrails. I'll be reading his Substacks. Good. I'll make sure that link is in there by the time I get home. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we have a little bit more to do on the other side. A little bit of some cultural news in our neck of the woods. Just as a reminder, for tonight and tomorrow, the first 25 people to go and make a purchase at ketobrainz.com using the promo code May or the Quite Frankly promo codes that you get, that's a 20% off promo code you get when you become a monthly sponsor. you not only are putting yourself in the running for this big prize package all throughout this month, but you're also going to be getting a new product sent to you to taste test. And it's a ketones cacao hot chocolate mix. I can't wait to try it because I love hot chocolate, and Aurora loves hot chocolate. So I hope it's chocolatey and good. That's why Aurora loves the Yes Cacao. She goes, Dad, can I have one of the protein balls? Because Justin said there is technically like a gram of protein in these. So it's nice. If I can get her some more hot chocolate like that, that'd be great. So use that promo code today and tomorrow. There's a little special something added onto it if you're the first 25 people to buy. And that's another great way to support the show, and also to get a wonderful stack of great stuff into your daily regimen to improve your lot. It's not just a taste thing, it's a brain thing. And whatever the hell your function is, it's going to make you more functional. All right, see you tomorrow. A little bit later because of T-ball, but we will be here. So just mind the time that I have had scheduled for you. All right, until then, take care.
I'll catch you on the flip side.
Quite Frankly is filled before a live studio audience, and now get over to the flip side. I'm dropping the link in the chat rooms right now. If you can't see the link, just go to quitefrankly.tv and press play. I want to talk a little bit about the drama going on right now that has now started to rope in one of our close friends. It's a crazy world out there, and I'm just grateful to be me. I'll tell you. Okay. See you in a bit. See you tomorrow. Thanks for everything, guys.
Take care of yourself, baby. By the way, I faked every orgasm.